Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I'm your host, BMR. Joined today with me, the lovely, the talented co-host, Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress. Subscribe to her on YouTube, the Cryptid Huntress, if you would. We got a great show. Brown Dwarf, Pacific Northwest. Talk about the mysteries, the mayhem, Humboldt County. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, hit the alert bell, and share with friends. You can find us on YouTube at Texas Front Porch and Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Please subscribe. And again, the Cryptid Huntress. You can also find us on Odyssey and iHeartRadio, along with KPNL Radio. Thanks to the lovely Selene for that out in Oregon. You can find us wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Spreaker. We are on Facebook at Texas Front Porch. You can also reach us by email at paracryptidencounters@gmail.com. Also, beyond the BMR at gmail.com, I take encounter stories for you folks to read live or recorded, whichever you prefer. Don't forget to subscribe. Again, Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, the Cryptid Huntress. If you like to enjoy our content, the guys, the super chat's open, and the super thanks is open for after. Again, you can go to the About pages on all of our channels to find out all our additional information, our videos, our times, our stores. War Woman Goods, Jessica Jones, pretty cool store. Check that out. BMR's got one, so does Tex. Enough of that. I'm going to bring up Jessica here shortly as I just fade out the music. And here we go. Jessica, thank you for joining me once again on Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Rob. This is going to be another fun show.
It is. And before I get into it, I like to send my prayers, thoughts for everybody in Florida with the, that was some hurricane that ripped through there, eh, Jess?
Yeah, it was. And I have not heard from all of my friends down there. So please, if you guys are watching this today, get in the chat and say you're okay, or send me a text or something. Okay.
Yeah, I have a friend
I
that's...
haven't heard from Nana Boss today yet. Okay. So
okay. Well, I have a friend,
and Matt.
I had not either. I have a friend that is in Orlando, and I call and try to get a hold on the internet, and there's 2 million people without power. I'm sure that's what a lot's going on.
Probably.
Again, our thoughts, our prayers with those folks. If you have relatives, family out there, everybody listening in chat and listening later or on the radio side, you have my thoughts as well as Jessica and the rest of the channel. And moving on with that, we got a great guy here. I'm gonna bring him up here. You know, welcome Brown Dwarf to the first time. And
greetings.
Yeah,
panel,
hey,
everyone,
Dwarf.
Jessica.
Hi.
Greetings, everyone in chat and YouTube world.
Yeah. Hey, about 5 years ago, I started going on YouTube. Everyone knows 5 years ago is when I started my endeavor with Bigfoot and such. And I never really went on YouTube. So I thought YouTube was something just to watch music on. Then I started perusing all these channels. And you know what? Well, you're one of the first guys, man. I came well before I even came on and had a show. It was always Brown Dwarf popping up everywhere. And we became kind of chatty friends and got to know you for the first time now in person, so to speak, visually. And man, I'm really happy to have you on, man.
I'm honored. And yeah, man, it's cool to finally get together and have brunch, eh?
Yeah, oh, that's right. Of course, we're not eating because my stomach's growling right now, but that'll be kind of rude for everybody to see. But, before we get started, man, why don't you just walk through, just give us a little bit about, I mentioned you were from Hollywood, I think, in that California, now Humboldt and the PNW. So why don't you just, for those that don't know Brown Dwarf, why don't you just give us a little background, a little history, man?
Yeah, man. So grew up in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. And that's a wild place in itself. And so eventually moved from the Hollywood to the Redwoods. And yeah, that's been little more over than 10 years or so, I think it's been. And even before that, I've been traveling up that way for many years, like 12 years before that. So I've always had a connection there, and finally had moved up there, and yeah, a lot of bizarre stuff started happening up that way.
When you say bizarre, you already have me intrigued.
Oh yeah, man.
I'll let you take it from there. What's bizarre's going on out there?
Well, you got the mysterious redwood forests
Okay.
going on, and that in itself is mysterious because when you get around those trees, man, you get this vibe. There's this certain vibe, a mystique, and it's mysterious. It's like, whoa, you feel like something's out here, and come to find out, Sasquatches those are their grounds there, and so I think that's what that vibe might be. And you hear about a lot of other stuff that goes on that's pretty weird, and of course you get your UFOs and all that, man.
Yeah, and if anybody hasn't seen, I'm trying to find it. Is that picture you sent me with you? You look like a brown dwarf with that tree. I mean, literally, you look like a peanut, and this thing is literally. What was that?
Was that you in that picture? I thought it was a kid.
I thought it was. Yeah, that was you. I assumed it was you. But that thing's got to be 20
That's
feet
you?
round.
That's a huge tree.
Yeah, and that's like it's weird because they'll I say they dread up sometimes. They'll grow and they'll fuse together, and it was like I think 3 trees there, but those are pretty big, and even those being pretty big, there's some bigger monster trees out there. It's amazing.
Wow.
I definitely got to get down there, Jessica, just to see that.
Yeah.
That is something I cannot fathom it just by a picture.
No. Oh yeah, no, it's something you definitely got to experience, and I recommend it. And it's something that we should definitely preserve, man. Because I've heard, I don't know if it's true, but I think 5% of the redwoods are left, and and that's all due to logging and you name it. But it's something we got to definitely preserve and enjoy and share. And so come on up.
Absolutely. I'm going to put that on my bucket list because I've been to, actually, I'm not bragging, I've been to about 35, 36 states. I have not been out west. I haven't been past Las Vegas. So I guess I've been out west. But Las Vegas was just for gambling and, underhanded activity, I guess. So, hey, Matt, would you consider yourself a researcher? Why don't we get into it a little bit about where you where you research at, and if you had any types of evidence or types of things that you've come across in regard to the mysterious Sasquatch. And I got to ask you a little later, do you consider Sasquatch an ancient forest person or something else? Well, we can get that a little later.
Cool. So moving into the county, before I got there, I had an idea of what was going on because once you start heading into the northern part of California, you really start to notice the Sasquatch in the human culture, as far as storefronts, logos, everything and anything is Bigfoot, Sasquatch up these ways. And it's cool to see. And so, that's always in the back of the mind, at least my mind. And so when I moved into the area, I'd ask around and whatnot. And sure enough, the stories start coming in and it's like, wow, people are really experiencing this. And so I just, started digging myself and poking around and finding out and where things happened and started jumping online and learning more about what people were doing as far as investigating or if they had evidence going on, and just started soaking stuff up and checking my areas for certain things, whether it be structures or, whatever prints or anything I could find myself and prove to myself that possibly this stuff is true and it is happening. And sure enough, I got out there and down the hill, because we're up on hills, look like mountains, but they're hills. Down in town, there's state parks, several redwood groves. There's a big river that goes through, is the Eel River, and I'm talking right now the southern part of Humboldt County. I started checking these places out, and sure enough, I started finding structures, and I'm like, wow, okay, well, it's very possible that it's human because it's close to towns, but you got to keep in mind that these towns they push up, they're in the woods, very small towns, and you step right outside of one of these towns, you're in the woods. So it's very possible for these beings and of course wildlife to come close to civilization. And I heard someone recently the other night on a show mention, because they were talking structures and how they're coming, finding them close to towns and cities and stuff like that. And I believe it's very possible that it's these things. And he called it like urban Sasquatch, meaning that, yeah, these things are close to us, a lot closer than most people think. And you don't have to go far into the wilderness to be around them. Yeah. And so, yeah, started getting into the structure thing, documenting and sharing my stuff with other people that were doing the same. And it just took off from there. And from there, finding prints around structures and just certain anomalies done with trees, rocks. People talk about rock stacking. I found a lot of that type of stuff. And that could always tie back to humans. And I've seen people do the rock stacking. There's a lot of, Humboldt is a trippy place, man. You got your natives that have been there, and then the whole hippie culture. A lot of the hippies that were in San Francisco at the time, after that whole scene moved up north and, started the back to the land movement. And then so the children of those people, held on to that type of lifestyle and culture. So that is really strong around the county. And so you get a lot of open-minded people and just people that are just on a different frequency than your city folk, and your normal country folk as well. But you get a mixture of all that, and it's interesting. So yeah, man. And also, so in this journey of mine with this Sasquatch, finding these things, I noticed strange lights started to happen around our property. And that was really mind blowing. And come to find out, I started hearing more people reporting this type of stuff. And also possibly tying it to Sasquatch. And I was just like, whoa, hold on here. And eventually also I ended up noticing strange things going on the property. And the property, like I said, is not far. It's about 45 minutes from town. And it's just all just woods, man. So, we get all types of wildlife coming through, and I love documenting and tracking those things. And
speaking of documenting, I like to get into the lights and things and the frequencies. I know that's right up Jessica's bag, and I've learned quite a bit from Jessica. But you mentioned you sent me quite a few cool photos, and you were talking about the structures. I'm just going to sprinkle in some as we go, and I'm going to pull up one right now that I find pretty cool. If you want to let us know where this was at, and I'll speak a little bit about it, if you don't mind.
Cool. Yeah. So this is one of the groves that I'm talking about down the hill from us. And people document a lot of these. And this, to me, looks like 2 X's. Yeah. And to me, I don't think that naturally fell in place. No. That looks placed to me. Could a person do that? Yeah. Could several people do that? Of course. But it's one of those anomalies that people have documented on different scales, too. There's different calibers. Sometimes you'll find tiny structure, super tiny, or people find what they call ground glyphs as well. It could be just a few sticks on the ground, or you could get bigger caliber structures like that X and bigger stuff and more complex type structures where you have X's and bows and all types of just weird stuff. It looks almost like art. And this one here is also in the same area. And it's weird how I feel like I get guided to these things. Something inside me will tell me, go to this area, check this out here. And sure enough, I run into these things. And that one was a pretty cool one because it was at the base of a big redwood. So that's the root ball that they placed those redwood branches. And they made an effort to do that because to find branches that size in the area, you got to look around and dig around and find all the right sizes that you need. And I know that took a little effort. And I didn't point out in the video. The video is really cool. There is a bunch of ferns, a pile of fresh ferns right next to the structure. So whoever was building that structure must have done it not too long before I got there, because the ferns are green and fresh. And that's something I always look at when I find ferns or certain things on the structures. I try to look at the quality of the wood or whatever's being used, kind of give you an idea of maybe when it was built, because sometimes you'll find them and they're falling apart. So, give you an idea, maybe it's been there a while. And these are just notes that I take for myself, and I see in other people's investigations, and I take it from there. And man, I've been finding tons of those structures, and in the oddest places.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're obvious in some obvious place, like, okay, yeah, there's people around, someone must have built that. But these places do have reports of Bigfoot. So,
yes. And now, Jessica, you could chime in too, and Brown, Dwarf, both of you guys. Brown, what do you think the significance is? What do you think these structures, are they sending a message? Now, I know some look like it might be a dwelling, and I got a couple more I'll show. I don't want to do them all at once, but what do you think these mean? I mean, is it marking territory or just a dwelling to hang out? What's your thoughts, man?
Well, I think it depends on the type of structure, because, obviously a teepee structure, you would imagine someone going inside of it and maybe, I don't know, meditating or just taking a nap or whatever you do inside a teepee. Yeah, and that was interesting. That's on a beach. So they're on the beaches, they're in the forest. I'm not sure. I don't know what they mean. And on that structure, I see an X also. There's an X leaned on there, and then whatever, there's some pieces of wood stuck in the ground. And I've heard people even mention that small sticks stuck in the ground. People have pointed that out, and there you got some big pieces of wood shoved in there. And but I honestly don't think a full-grown Bigfoot could fit inside there. So,
no, I don't. No, I don't. I was about to say no way.
But it's very artistic and it's beautiful. Now, and not a lot, but some of those structures could be debris huts. We have a lot of those around the woods of North Georgia, where people go in and do like survival training and stuff like that. Yes. And some of the guys on my team actually go out and like Keith, my friend Keith, he likes to go out and build a debris hut and go sleep with the snakes and the raccoons, just to know he can, I think. And that's just amazing. I like a tent myself. But anyways, for survival, but it doesn't explain all of them,
Right.
And those redwood trees are huge. Like that picture that you showed a while ago that had the sticks all around it. Don't you have a picture of your friend inside of that thing?
Yeah. So
it's huge.
Yeah, you could totally take shelter in there. And this one's a huge structure. And it was interesting because this is another hotspot. A lot of reports have come from this area, and I find tons of structures. And this one was pretty unique and really big. So, I documented it. Yeah. And the door entrance does have you'd think it's square. Okay. Yeah. Humans, but you never know. And like I said, this particular spot has had a lot of sightings. And those sightings I've found also online. And also there's the BFRO, which I know once again, people, it's controversial, but I do check out their reports, and I go to those areas and check things out for myself. So, man, that was a weird structure there. And up the hill, that was on a beach. And next to that structure, there's a video. I'm trying to find it so I could bring it back up, but I found there's elk in the area. So I'm like, all right, food source, and you got the ocean. I'm sure you clams, fish, whatever. And I found the elk kill right next to these structures. And I was like, wow, that blew me away, because from what I hear, they some people are like, oh, what do they eat? Are they vegetarian? Are they carnivorous? Who knows? I think it's all of the above. Yeah, for sure, right?
They eat berries. I know that from Fred in Alaska. So they eat berries and they eat deer and stuff for sure. So
I'm sure it sounds like a good diet.
And dogs and humans. So
it's very possible.
It depends. Yeah.
I found that interesting, and I found several other kills sometimes next to the structures. And I keep an eye out for any little thing. Sometimes you'll find feathers and shells, clam shells, crab shells. and just organized in a weird way, or little human trinkets sometimes that are just like, whoa, how did this get here? But yeah, well, people, and first thing comes to mind, right? But yeah, I don't know, because sometimes some of the things I've seen other people document is some of the strange stuff that I'm getting too. So I'm like, So yeah, I'm just taking notes, man, and keeping it in a file.
I got to ask you too. You see a lot of people that'll present like what appears to be a bedding, and I got to say, Brown, and even Jessica, I don't know if you've come across these pictures, but it's presented perhaps as a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot bedding, but a lot of them just seem to be so small. I mean, do you think that? Because I think if you're a Bigfoot, you're not going to be out in the where people could readily come across you, right? Maybe it's bedding for the children, the offspring, whatever. What's your thoughts on that? Because I would think bedding, it'd have to be 8, 9, 12 feet. It'd have to be spatial, right? Like some of these smaller structures that we showed.
Right. And yeah, so you would imagine, they need their space, somewhere comfortable, where they won't be bothered and stuff like that. And I've heard things as far as they'll use younger Sasquatch, call them sentinels, as like lookouts, so the bigger ones could rest and do whatever they do or whatever. I don't know. But I would imagine, they need somewhere to definitely take shelter. But at the same time, here we go off the deep end. If they're interdimensional, or if they could pop in and out of this reality, or orbs and all that, why would they need some sort of bedding? If they're,
I know. That's actually my thought on that, because my team, we haven't found a ton of places where we thought they had bedding out there. There's possible places, but it could also be for a bear or some other big animal,
Of course.
And so it makes it kind of adds to that X factor, is what I call it, with Bigfoot, because we don't find a whole lot of places where we think they're living out there.
Yeah. And the reason I even brought that up, too, great point, Jessica and Brown, is because when we're out investigating in the field, not everything, you can't think everything is a Bigfoot structure or something made by a cryptid. And that's why I like some of the pictures you've shown, because they're definitely made by something. And I tell you what, it takes a heck of a lot of human being men to build these things. So
yeah, those trees are heavy.
I mean, they're heavy.
Yeah, and even the smaller structures, like or the glyphs, could easily be done by people. I mean, but I've never built anything. I think one time I tried to and it was on the property. I built a little something to see if I'd get a response, but nothing really happened there. But I got some stories where things have happened where I set something up. But this was Oregon. This was a trippy one, and the video will definitely give you more of an angle and an idea of what the structure is. But this is like a couple of teepees. And then there's they were building a base around it, but they also hung two parallel branches at the top of the teepee, and they strung seaweed all over. It was just bizarre, dude.
Yeah.
And
no, man, there's no way a human did. That's too intricate, man. There's no way. It'd have to be 20 guys, and why? Why would you do it? You can't do nothing.
Yeah, well, or maybe the kids got back from Burning Man and hung out there for
right.
a while. And,
I tell you what, that would go up in a blaze. That would be fun. It looks pretty.
But that was a trippy one. And there's a couple other structures on that beach. And once again, that part of Oregon has a lot of reports, a lot of sightings, and it's just kind of weird to find these things in these same areas. And so another thing that leads me to believe that possibly they do these things, because I did find a really big structure. This was a little above San Francisco and near Point Reyes. And there's some strange things going on in Point Reyes. You guys look into it. But some missing people stuff.
Wow. I did a show about that yesterday.
I found a really
yes, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I found this really big structure. Go on. You're going to say something, Jessica?
Oh no, I was wondering.
Anyway,
was there any kind of trace of these people or anything? Or we'll talk about it later.
No, it was weird. I don't know. Yeah. Politis had reported on it, and these ladies were at the beach. One lady was at the beach with a couple of dogs and somehow vanished, and the dogs were found, and she was never found.
Oh, wow.
And then I think it was another lady also in the same area, and she might have been jogging or something like that and just vanished, and no trace of her. But
Wow.
yeah, so this area is just a little north of the city, but yet there's redwoods. There's that whole vibe again. You know, the redwoods, the thick fog. When the fog comes in, oh my God, it gets really intense. And yeah, this was a foggy day, and I found this huge structure, all these X's, and I'm like, whoa, it was amazing. And anyway, I uploaded the video, and actually Gonzo from Breaking Bad, I know he was on
Hey,
recently with you guys.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
he's coming back on next week with me too.
cool. Well,
Love Jesus.
he took a look at the video and actually took a timestamp, and in the timestamp it looks like two possible what looks like Bigfoot Sasquatches inside of the structures, and I didn't see that at the
Wow.
time of the video, and it wasn't until after that he went through it and found it, and so he sent that over to me. I think I sent it to you, Rob, but I'm not sure if you're going to be able to pull it up. But it is what you call kind of blob squatchy. It's not 4K or anything like that,
Yeah.
but it was very interesting because they say people get pictures and timestamps and stuff. And a lot of times there'll be like a weird anomaly, and a lot of times blurry or just not in focus. And so I wonder, people get upset when they see these pictures, and I don't, I just, all right, I question it because I'm like, okay, maybe what is it? Maybe it's something about these creatures that are they vibrating at a certain frequency that makes them come out blurry all the time or whatever, or,
Yeah, I
all
think that's a
that.
possibility, actually. And Jesus Payan is Gonzo, who you're referring to. He has some of the best evidence. Brown, he's got some of the best pictures of
Oh, yeah.
clear faces and whole bodies and even UFOs and all sorts of fun stuff. He's got
Yeah.
and orbs with faces in them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've seen the orbs. I've captured the orbs with faces in them, but I've been
Me too.
questioning it. I'm wondering if maybe my camera was out of focus or something, but it stayed out of focus the whole time I was recording. So I thought that was weird. But and as far as Gonzo, yeah, him and I have been in touch for several years. So cool dude,
Yeah.
and
He's the best. I like
I'm
him.
glad he's on board. Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
So, Brown, some of your investigations out there, I've got a couple pictures you sent me also, not only structures of some footprints or some prints. And I'm going to pull a couple up here, and you can let's kind of go over what you think these are and maybe what location you found it in. I've got two. Well, one, here's a small one. It's going to be kind of small, I think. I couldn't blow it up, but let's put this up here. Does that appear to be a handprint, or I'm trying to...
I think those are toes, and in the video I point out, and those are really long toes. They almost look like fingers, right?
Okay.
And
like from a gorilla or something,
right?
Yeah.
It's weird. And I have seen people document tracks like that before, and you hear about the three-toed stuff and some weird stuff. But that one was trippy, man. And someone had pointed out that maybe they were tiptoeing because the whole print didn't come out. It was just like the top part of it, but it did catch the mid, what we call the mid-tarsal break, right?
Yeah,
and,
I see that. I can see that.
I pointed that out as well in the vid, and so in that area, that's right near the Bigfoot trap in Oregon. I don't know if you've heard about it, but in Southern Oregon, there in the Applegate, there's an old trap that they built there in the 70s, and they did that. I forget the group that built it, but you can check it out online. And I have done videos there, and I have found structures there before too. So that was kind of weird. Could it be people that went to go visit and maybe leave a sign? I don't know. That's also some more tracks from the area. And in the video, I pointed out, I mentioned, I was like, oh, maybe it was a little person, meaning I don't know. It looks like, I imagined like a hobbit or something, but you could see it's kind of boxy. It just doesn't have like it looks human, but it was a big print too. But I people are expecting massive prints. It wasn't that huge, but it was big enough for me to notice, and it was pretty deep in there, and it just had certain anomalies about it, the boxiness, and you didn't get the mid-tarsal break there, but there's several other tracks after that I documented as well, and it just, I don't know, rang a bell for me, and I did go back and cast some of them. So trip out on this. So when I found those tracks, I had found them they were below a teepee structure, and And so when I went, I didn't have plaster with me. And this is not too far from our Oregon farm. So I made it a point to come back and cast them. I went and bought some plaster. And when I came back the following day, a few days later, I couldn't find the tracks that we just showed right now for some reason. And I went back and forth, and the area is pretty big, but I mean, I covered it and I could not find those same tracks, but I found other tracks. And so I started putting sticks in the ground to try to mark them so I wouldn't lose my space and stuff. And so I'd be able to cast them. And so I spotted a few tracks, and I was going to go put a stick into them, and I couldn't find those tracks. And I'm like, darn. And I spent like more than an hour. It was a hot day, back and forth, and I couldn't. And these were some pretty big ones too. So I was excited. Couldn't find those that time. And I don't know what was going on. I was like, you know what? There's these other tracks that I seen, and I just go ahead and document and cast those. And I went and did that. And so there you go. There's some weirdness there.
That's anomalous. That's really wild. It sounds like something that happens to us in the field down here. So,
oh man,
yeah, you just can't explain it. Stuff doesn't make sense.
And there's a lot of things that happen like that I kind of forget, or I'll say it in the videos and I forget, and I'll go back to the video or something, and then I'm okay, this and this happened, or you learn something later and you go back to something and you forget to point so many things come together. You know, they say everything's connected, and I'm just trying to put my puzzle pieces and share it with whoever wants to, you know, share their pieces. And
everybody, please subscribe to Brown Dwarf on YouTube. He does have some great videos. He sent me a video. I can pull up pictures of this video I'm having a problem with, and I don't want to sit here but it's great. You guys got to go to Brown Dwarf and subscribe, and awesome stuff. And you know, we're talking about some of these footprints, and I know we'll talk about Bigfoot a little bit. I want to allude back to like Humboldt County, and I mean, there's a lot of mysteries out there, and a lot of these footprints, maybe not just what we showed tonight, but the little people, right? If you have come across people in the forest that, you know, like to talk about the little people themselves.
Yeah. So I haven't experienced anything with the little people or duendes, they call them too in Spanish and stuff. But I know that whole area, I'm sure they're there. You know, I'm into, I open my mind. I'm into a lot of trippy things. And so, you know, I feel their vibe there. You know, talk about fairies and whatnot. That's one of those forests where you'll find all these things, I think. But I've never experienced them, I don't think. And but I have been told there's an area east of there called the Yoli Bolis, and it's a mountain range. And I've heard a lot of stories of the little people from there. And I think that might be Mendocino County and possibly Shasta County. I'm not sure exactly what counties it runs through, but it's not far actually from the old homestead there where we're having all the activity. You could almost see the tops of the Yoli Bolis from there. So that was pretty cool. But I would love to go there and investigate and see what's going on. But I have had a little people experience in another country.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if you want to tap into that.
Of course we do.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right,
what country were you in?
So my mom is from Venezuela. And so I went out there a few years ago recently, and you know, Venezuela is going through some rough stuff, man. And prayers for them out there. And we went to go visit, my partner and I have a cousin of mine who's everyone says that we're just like each other. I mean, he's got long dreadlocks also, and he's actually always in the mountains. And he used to actually have a pet monkey too, a little monkey. He was like the Tarzan of the family. And so he'd always be out in the mountains and jungles in Venezuela and would just come back home to check on his mom and family and maybe get supplies. And so that's what he does. So he's like a shaman, working with medicine, plants and herbs and all that.
How cool.
So we hooked up while we were out there, and he's like, yeah, we're going to go, you know, talked about he's totally into Bigfoot and all, he's with it. And he's like, yeah, let's go, you know, camping and check it out. There's an area here where, you know, the little people are. And so, yeah, we hike up this mountain. I, like a dummy, packed a bunch of stuff, and it was a hike, and it kicked my butt. And actually next to this area where we camped at, further up, there's a hotel there, way up there. And it's the Humboldt Hotel. And so there's a little weird connection there for me too. I'm just like, whoa, okay, Humboldt back again.
Coincidence. Just like you're back home.
Yeah, and Humboldt, I want to get into him because I hear he's an explorer and whatnot. But and so anyway, so we camp out, and he mentioned that there's a pack of little wild dogs that roam around at night too. And so we cooked a little food and hit the sack. And sure enough, my partner, she's into this stuff, but not like me. She's just like more of the skeptic. And sure enough, we heard these foots. He's like, dude, keep an ear out for like footsteps. You'll hear them. And sure enough, we heard the little wild dogs coming around. And right after the wild dogs, we heard what sounded like a bunch of like little footsteps coming around the tent. And my partner, she totally flips out, like, you know, whoa, what is that? And I'm like, well, they mentioned the little people, you know, it could be them. And but we didn't peek out. I didn't bother to look. I was just like, okay, let them do their thing. I won't bother them. And that was that.
It's all fun and games. So that zipper starts to unzip on your tent, right?
Yeah.
Like, wait a second. What did I sign up for? That's wild. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I've heard other people's stories and stuff like that. We could save that for another day, but that was my personal possible experience with them.
Yeah, no, that was pretty creepy. But let's talk about like when you're out. Like when I envision with these pictures you sent me, I'm envisioning like an enchanted forest. I mean, I really am. It's like something that movies are made of. Mm-hmm. And as I made mention earlier, that's got to be on my bucket list now to go check that out. And let me ask you, the forest, Humboldt, wherever, the Pacific Northwest, is it enchanting? Is there some mystery behind that? When you go out there, do you get that vibration? Like Jessica always talks about that frequency. Do you think you're like on another plane? Mm-hmm. You think that you're out of your body type experience, perhaps?
Yeah, and especially if you ingest certain things. But
well, we all know brown dwarf, so yes, that goes without saying.
But yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people have gone up there and have reported a lot of things, right? And so in some of my videos, there's a lot of timestamps that I've shared where there's these possible creatures, man, and call them Bigfoots or I don't know what they are. We don't know what they are, but we are getting timestamps of weird stuff. So there's things out there for sure. I know that, and I feel blessed to be able to be and represent that area, man. And yeah, we definitely you gotta come through, Rob and Jessica, so we can hit the field and find out for ourselves. And so you see that I'm not joking.
So many places I gotta go, you know.
Yeah. Hey, when y'all are down south, y'all come see me. I'll take y'all to some spots. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you up on that. And,
I want to. You have to blindfold me, Jessica, and take me to the meadow.
Oh, you just got to sign a waiver that you're not going to talk.
Oh, okay. Well, you know it's hard for me.
Well, we take people out there. Shoot, I'll be there in.
We got him freezer. Yeah, so you're mentioning movies. There's several movies that have been filmed up there. I heard parts of I forget what part Star Wars was filmed up in the Redwoods. Parts of Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, I believe. Lots of TV commercials, several documentaries, and if anyone wants to get a little insight on what Humboldt County, part of Humboldt County is about, there's also, I've recommended to Jessica and others, there's the Murder Mountain on Netflix.
Yeah,
and that's kind of
I've heard of that.
That's kind of the dark side of the county. But
well, Brown Dwarf, we could talk about that because guess what I have written down here on my piece of paper.
There's no telling.
The Murder Mountain.
Wow.
That's out by you, right?
Well,
kind of.
Well, no, it's a hill over.
It's a hill over.
Well, hey,
so there's a road. There's one road from Southern Humboldt that takes you up into those hills, Alder Point Road, and you keep going up that road, you eventually end up in Alder Point, and that's basically like a island mountain. That's what you call Murder Mountain, and it's basically our hills there, man. So we're pretty much in the epic center of all that stuff. But that's throughout the whole county, and what they call the Emerald Triangle. Mendocino is like that. Trinity County is like, a lot of places in California like that. But Yeah, something about Humboldt too, because I think for a while we held the statistic for the highest rate of missing people.
Yes.
And I've mentioned also that that's possibly due to the cannabis industry and just other industries. There's people cooking meth in those hills too, and you get that type of stuff going on, and cartels and
Wow.
you name it. So it's dangerous, but very beautiful at the same time. You get both, and yeah, just got to stay safe and stick to your woods. Make sure you don't trespass no one's farm.
Stay in your territory, right?
Yeah,
That's wild.
I would have to imagine it's doubly dangerous out there because, of course, as you made mention about the marijuana growing, exporting, and whatever the case may be. And so a lot of these states now are legalizing it over the course of the last 5-6 years. So I'm sure that their production their supply is still running heavily, but I bet you it's been tapped into. So now you got these meth heads running around. And that's really what you got to worry about. A meth head and a Sasquatch running around. Imagine if they met up. I wonder what would happen.
Well, in these days, we actually have a lot of like homeless people living out in the woods in the national parks. And recently, over the past couple of months, there was a couple who was driving down a forest road in Alabama at the Talladega Forest. And they were pulled over by a woman who said she had car troubles, and she ended up trying to rob them at gunpoint. And he pulled his gun out, and they shot each other, and he ended up dying. So there's a lot of, and she and her crew were living like in a homeless camp kind of thing, deep in the woods. So we have a lot of dangers, a lot of hidden dangers out there.
Yeah. And I've actually done several videos. I might have titled like abandoned camps or anything. I've ran into a lot of campsites in the middle of the woods that are just abandoned, and that's
what that is, right? You know what that is a lot of times. It's where people have been out in the woods and got scared because a Bigfoot or something chased them off.
Right, yeah.
My team's found some good equipment out there.
And there's some scenes where it just looks like trash. Something happened there, and it's kind of creepy, but exciting and fun sometimes too. Yeah. Just hope you don't run into a body or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's lots of crazy. I mean, I could go on about stories of that county, but
I'm really infatuated. And you brought up about the missing persons. I, for one, and then I believe that the missing are 10 or 12 different things. I'm not going to blame it on cryptids. It could be human, it could be cryptid, alien.
And you're talking the 411 phenomenon.
Yes, correct. I think that's everything. Everything is attributed. But, the more I read about this murder mountain, the Humboldt County, I think that isn't that a high percentage compared to a lot of other states? And I wonder if that's attributed to the combination just now with even the cartels, not just human beings or cryptids.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, I think it's a lot of factors. And there is several serial killers that have been in the area too, and that's how the name Murder Mountain got its name, because I think it was a couple that was in the area, and they were serial killers, and they had killed several people up on the hill, and that's when it got its name. But then all these other scenes and situations that were happening in the area just it became notorious and got its name. But and I think, I don't know what's going on. And you got to factor in, if these orbs are popping out in those areas too. And there's been some public UFO reports and sightings and videos, I think even pictures from the area. So, there's also the chance of abduction and stuff like that, alien abduction, or whoever's flying these crafts, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about that on Sunday. Tex from Texas Front Porch is coming on Space Out Radio with me. We're going to talk about the dangers of alien abductions in the field. So, we're actually going to have a whole show about that.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure it's going to be a really big, I think for me, it's a big topic, but especially now that I've heard that those notes have been released, everyone's talking about these notes. And so it seems like there's a buzz
I'm
going
telling
around.
you, it
and-
happens. Yeah, it happens. I remote viewed an incident of missing time that he had. And a lot of us researchers have had missing time out in the field. And it is interesting to look into that because, I mean, I think all roads lead back to ET. That's what the head of my team always said.
Yeah, and you
I
know
think
what?
he's right.
I think so too. And actually, BD Brown Dwarf, you sent me a couple pictures of a possible UFO that I'm gonna show in the second half because we'll get into that. But I'd like to ask you this: you make mention I've been following you a lot about orbs and aliens and ETs, and do you think there is a connection? Do you think that just every time an orb is popping up, there's Sasquatch activity or cryptid activity?
Yeah, no, I have no idea, but I do keep an eye out for any activity when I'm spotting the orbs. You know, I keep an ear out and an eye out for anything. And actually, I don't know if I sent you the video. There's one. It's kind of weird because I was relieving myself at the time. It was nighttime, and right there on our deck, off the deck actually. But I had my phone on. I had my phone on me at the time, and sure enough, I spot this orb at the ridge, on the ridge, and it starts like making its way, zigzagging its way down, and darted behind the ridge. But as soon as it like hit the ridge, I got a vocalization. It must have been 2 vocalizations, and the thing is, the video cuts off because I was done with my business. So it just kind of cuts off there, but it did pick up the vocals as well. So I thought that was pretty bizarre. At the same time as I'm seeing this orb.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could check that video out. The video's posted there. And actually on my YouTube, you'd probably have to find it. I had recently posted on the Instagram, and what I could do is maybe post it on the community page after this. So if people want to check it out, you can check it out.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody subscribe to Brown Dwarf. Again, it's great. That's a great channel. Love it. Love it.
I appreciate it, man. And like I said, it's an organized mess. It should be a little more hooked
we
up.
all are. We're all
You know,
organized.
I'm an organized mess too. I think, yeah,
It's
you know,
my
when
life.
you're doing this, you gotta be. As long
Yeah,
as
but I think. Go ahead.
no, as long as you as long as that word organization is somewhere thrown in your vocabulary, you're okay.
I'm just a hot
Yeah.
mess.
And my
Yeah.
plan is in the future to definitely hook it up, you know, and represent and present stuff in a nice platter for everyone to check out, man.
You know, we got about 4 minutes. We have to go to our break, and I wanted to ask you because I'd like to get in that UFO bit a little bit in the second half for the last like half hour. What do you think? You know, you've been doing this a while now. You've been out in the woods, seen a lot of things. What do you think these cryptids are in general? Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever.
As far as the Sasquatch, I believe they are possibly just another tribe of possibly hybrid humans. I'm on going down that route, but I don't know. You know, no one really knows, really. I think, and yeah, a lot of it. There's just a lot of human, I think, traits about them, human things that they do, but then there's a lot of animalistic things. So I could get, I get the whole ape thing too, but I do believe, yeah, a hybrid of some sort, because it has kind of like all those things about it. And but then you get some of the strange stuff happening with it. So it's like, what really is it? So it's normal apes don't do some of the weird stuff that is found with the Sasquatches, right? So
yeah,
they got the X factor. They do.
that's right. I tell you what,
it.
There's one thing that I'm sure of for myself. I throw out the word ape now. I'm not in that camp.
Yeah. No, there's something more to them, I think, and but that's cool. I do when I investigate, I do go take certain things from that field, some of the concrete, more tangible stuff that people practice in that field, and I use it as well. And then some of the, whatever you want to call it, woo woo, or I know people hate that word too.
I just call it real life, the real
There you
life
go.
stuff.
Yeah, and you don't call it paranormal, but the paranormal is, we're learning, is
normal. Yeah,
so,
it's the new normal.
So,
I guess it depends who you're talking to, because some people the woo-woo offends them, paranormal offends them. You know what? With all these people
Everybody's
out there,
offended.
everybody's offended. You know what?
Just
You know,
say
get a
what you
life,
want to
man.
say
You know,
at this
I
point.
think I'm not one of these guys big on the political correctness thing. You know, but that's all I'm going to say. But say what you want. Free speech.
Yep.
You know, paranormal, the woo. You know, I do like the hybrid humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
because
and I'll get blasted on that. No, Rob. You know, blah blah blah. But you know, it is. We don't know anything really.
yeah, well, there was the whole DNA study, and people,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
that's questionable, and so the mystery continues, and
I mean,
they keep plugging away.
They could be giant lemurs. I mean, Tex talked about that before with the Melba Ketchum study. They could be gigantic man-sized lemurs.
Wow.
Who knows? I mean, not Bigfoot. I think he was talking about Dogman, actually.
Okay.
But
You know.
yeah, that's the whole of the rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go down some more rabbit holes in the second half of the last 30, 40 minutes. I'm coming up on it for everybody on iHeartRadio and everybody listening over there on Odyssey Radio. We got to take a 5-minute break. Now, what you need to do, though, if you want to catch the second half of this show, subscribe to Texas Front Porch or Bigfoot Michigan Rob. You'll get the second half in its entirety here on YouTube. Subscribe to the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and Brown Dwarf. To our radio people, where can they find you, bud?
Yeah, on YouTube under Brown Dwarf, but it's hard to find. I guess I don't know, it's the algorithm or what, but I guess if you try Brown Dwarf, Bigfoot structure, or something Bigfoot related, hopefully something will pop up, or Orbs maybe will help. But I've noticed even with that, I've been having trouble trying to find my channel. So I don't know, maybe we could post a link at some point. But
you know what I'll do on my YouTube channel, the Cryptid Huntress. I'll put you on as a friend down at the bottom, and so people can find you on my channel. Okay,
perfect.
Put me as your friend too, Brown Dwarf.
Jessica Jones always with the great ideas.
I got a good idea. We're gonna make it easy.
All right.
And we'll put you all over social media.
Thanks, Jess. We'll be back in 5.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob with Brown Dwarf. Great show going, and my lovely co-host, Jessica Jones. Thanks, guys, for joining. And thank you to Tommy Cardos, North Carolina, Cryptid and Paranormal Project, and CCPP for that super chat. Love your time. He's got a great show, by the way. You got to go check out North Carolina Cryptid Paranormal. And I think Tom made mention he's going on someone's show, the Grizzly Show or something. Tom, if you want to repost that, I missed it. I seen that. Go check out Tom. He's got some great stuff as well. Thank you once again, Tom, for that.
Hey, Tom. What's up? Thank you. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's appreciated by everybody. Like, share, subscribe all our channels. Again, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Brown Dwarf, the lovely Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, Texas Front Porch. And you know what? My buddy Jason, the Siru Papers, SIRU Papers. That's another part of our plethora, I guess I should say.
Plethora.
Plethora. I know. I like to say
Dave.
it wrong. I always say it wrong. Oh, yeah. So anyways, we got, and actually, Jason and I, we got an interesting show tonight on that channel. I can't even go there right now because my mind can't think that far ahead because it's going to be mind-blowing. Go check it out tonight, 10 in the East. So we're talking about the woods. We're talking about the mysteries of the Humboldt County. And you know what, Brown? You sent me a couple cool pictures. And I know that of all things, not only you're into Bigfoot research, but you're also a sky watcher or night watcher, right? And you sent me a couple really cool pictures. One I'm going to show, if I can find it really quick. I think it's that of the Milky Way. Then there's a picture right in back of it I'd like you to talk to us about really quick. I just want to pull up the right one, though. Well, it looks like I just got one of them. Well, anyways, I don't know. I can't read. Here we go. Not that one. This one.
Yeah. So those two pictures, the first one you showed was the.
I'm going to bring it back. But that's the beginning. Dang it. Well, let's go to the beginning. Okay.
Yeah. So that's there's a picture before that also, which you don't need to put. It was just the Milky Way. But then we noticed. So this is on the property.
Yeah.
And actually, in the background, you can see that rock. That's where a lot of the orbs pop up. So we did we set up my buddy's camera, and he took some long exposure shots. And these were a couple of the shots above the property. And yeah, it was pretty weird. I have no idea what it is. So it turned, you see that white light there. Yeah. And then the following picture was the next picture that you showed, which I have no idea what it is.
Yeah. That one, right?
Yep.
God, look at
So
all those stars.
Yeah, look at that. First of all,
Wow.
that's a beautiful back picture. That's something I'd want to put up in my house. And look at that. And look at that lineal, that line. I mean, look at the colors in that. It seems like, but you know what it looks like to me? You've got a red and a light red. It seems like though it's in uniform. Don't it look like it's somewhat uniform?
Yeah, it's the weirdest. I have no idea if anyone knows about photography or cameras or or any of this that we're looking at. I have no idea what it is, but it's just some of those strange anomalies that happen on that property, man.
Well, that's crazy. Do you think that there's a no, let's not say that. Let's with these anomalies, you think that's is that representative of what you just seen in the air, or there's something totally different? In other words, with these anomalies, you've seen these like orbs in the forest with faces in them. What do you think that is? Do you think that's something coming from a UFO craft, something coming down scouting the planet, or what do you think?
I don't know. It's weird because like I mentioned, that rock in that picture in the background, it's a huge rock that's on the property. And then there's Native American history there on the property as well. And so I think there's something to do with that rock, because there's one orb in particular. Sometimes it's like white or have a blue color. It looks like a star, and it pops out on that rock almost every night. And it does the weird stuff that all the other orbs do, but it really doesn't move too much out of its area there. And then, so I think there's something up with the rock there. And then I've heard people mention possible mineral deposits could cause stuff like that, weird anomalies like lights and stuff. I'm not sure.
Like mines or something.
Yeah, who knows? And all that area was, the gold rush. So a lot of mining and stuff like that too. But
which is interesting too, that there's gold and gold mines up there, because we've been making a connection with the Sasquatch and gold mines and UFOs as well. So there's a connection. I know Fred in Alaska and I had done it. We did a show about that, discussing it, because there's more activity around those gold mines. Now, are they guarding the gold mines? I don't know.
Yeah, and then we also mentioned, I think, Jessica, last time we tapped on the possible connection of the mining of gold and the Anunnaki, and we went that whole, there's that
it's a
rabbit hole we could go down too, but
totally.
I don't know. And actually the property, the Oregon farm that we're on now has 3 gold mines on it. And there's a bunch of old gold mines in the area as well that you could check out. I'll probably do a video on that soon. And yeah, so there's something with miners. Also, a lot of miners had experiences, and I think that's why they built the trap in Oregon, because these miners in the area were having encounters. And so in the 70s, I guess they figured they're still around, and they try to build a trap or whatever. But yeah, there's something with mines, and even I've seen videos of mines, haunted mines, and those mines have some sort of paranormal aspect to them. I think some of them, at least.
They do. Yeah. And you know what? I know I've mentioned this to you before, Brown, is that you have such a positive vibration, a positive vibe, and you're such a light out there. And I feel like that really probably attracts the activity to you. And because I know that you're also very psychically switched on, I can tell. And so that combination is really going to exaggerate kind of the activity around you, but it's going to bring it in because of that, I think.
Yeah, or you become more. I agree with you, and thank you.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm especially these days, I'm really trying. Been doing a lot of work on myself, inner work, and I just feel like it's time, and it seems like it's time for a lot of people. People are getting the message, like, hey, it's time to
shine that light.
So I've been doing a lot of inner work, a lot of dealing with a lot of stuff that I've gone through, and so it's not always happy and
it's not all pretty,
right? I have my moments, throughout the day, and I'm sure we all do, and so that's another thing, to be able to move forward in the positive light and remain in that focus during these tough times,
Yeah.
Um,
We live in a crazy world right now. And, a lot of the positivity is really needed right now in the world because there's not a whole lot of it outside of us. We got to find it within us.
Yeah. And so I think with that, tapping into those frequencies and vibrations, those higher vibrations will definitely tap you into other possible beings or things that are in those frequencies, and I want to be able to tap in because a lot of it is seems to be like very I want to say, I guess, negative, scary, and I get it that we like a good scare and a mystery and everything, but a lot of that stuff could be dark energy that we're tapping into as well. So we got to be able to have a balance with that as well. And I know there's a lot of positive beings and entities as well. Call it God's creations and stuff. I would love to tap into that, and hopefully the Sasquatches are that, because we don't know. Some people call them, like I've mentioned, demonic, or the friendly forest giant. I don't know. Could it be a mixture?
There's an in between. Yeah, there's a middle ground. There's somewhere in between.
So yeah, I want to tap into the good stuff, the good vibes.
Yeah.
And Brown and Jessica, and I attribute a lot of my changing a little bit. I met Jessica some time back, and I really listened to her message on a lot of her things she says. And Jessica, actually, I really do pay attention and try to get into that. And it's funny though, because I feel like I'm more awoke. Is that the proper word? Because
you're woke.
Woke. Okay. Woke. Because, I did a show, we had Robin McCray on, right? We did Mind Speak show with like my Bigfoot. And like 6 months ago, when I was speaking with Robin, she said my mind was a little closed, open, but I was getting there. And, during our show, there's a lot of things that she talked about that I knew what she was going to say just naturally. And she picked up on that. She picked up on, and I wasn't even foreshadowing. I just knew what she was going to say. And she picked up on the show. You can go back and check that out. And then after the show, she said, man, you've really been working hard on that frequency, the vibration. And I really didn't think I was, but for someone to pick up on that, I think we all could use that, because in today's world, a lot of our channels, we do talk about some doom and gloom, right? But we do
attacks,
right, and
death.
And I tell you what, and what's going on in the world is just insane to me. And I even quit watching I just watch my local news for 2 hours, and that's it. It's more of a show, because there's things going on are depressing, right? And thanks to Jessica and talking to other people that I've brought in my circle, I feel a lot better. I have a more positive outlook, even on negative things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it brings me back to once again remembering for myself perspective. Also your perspective, how you look at things and stuff like that, and even negative things. It's all perspective, and just. I wanted to mention also, Rob, I know you used to own a bar, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And so, talking about entities and spirit ghosts, all this stuff. I know that, even alcohol could be a very dangerous thing. I believe bars are a place where you could get definitely hook up with one of those hitchhikers.
Oh, I know that you've been watching my shows and listening to me speak, because I've had a lot of crazy things I think I've brought into my house. I've seen entities in my bar. I've spoke with Jessica. I've seen a lot of stuff, negative energy, but some was positive too, though. The stuff in my house, I haven't had in a long time. I think I cleansed the house pretty freely of it. But some of the things in the bar at night, some was creepy, and some was malevolent, but some was positive. And I think in a bar, you have different people. There's different people that travel bars. You got people that when they have too much to drink, they're happy. Some get mean, right? So
it's that dark liquor.
That dark liquor. Mean. That's why I drink the clear liquor. But yeah, no.
Having that dark tequila. Ooh, tequila. I
can drink tequila. I can't drink gin. I turn into a really butthole.
I can't drink any of that. I might have a glass of wine every now and then.
You're a wine connoisseur.
I mean, I like a glass of wine every now and then, but not too much.
We won't get too much into our habits. Right. But Brown Dwarf, taking whatever psychedelic you like those mushrooms, right? That must open your mind to a lot of things, right?
Hey, Yeah, well, it's a big thing these days. You know, in Oregon, it's actually almost on its way legal. I think it's pretty much decriminalized, and a lot of people are starting to use it. They're calling the microdosing, taking small amounts and stuff for, you know, different types of things. And I think there is something magical about mushrooms. You know, some could kill you, and some could heal you.
Yeah,
And got to
and that's
find the right one.
And I wasn't putting you on a spot anybody for what they do that's not legal. But the thing is, there's a point behind this.
I don't.
Well, they're mind expanding.
Your mind,
Okay.
if you are under the
Yeah.
influence of something, let me ask you this: is that more apt to have evil demons come in, or would that be more apt for any entity? Because to me, if you are inebriated in whatever fashion, you're exposed to everything a lot more. But then again, if you're like in tune to your frequency and you're sober, I think that that's the same thing, right?
Yep, it's all in the head, man. I think, yeah. So I think depending what you got going inside of you, will definitely manifest outside of you, whether you're taking something or not. But I think it does intensify if you are on something. If you're on alcohol, like you said, and you got negative things going on inside of you, that's going to reflect outside of you.
Yeah.
And but you know, if you're taking a journey, whatever mushroom, whatever it may be, some roots or cacti, who knows what, and you're on a positive frequency, I mean, you could tap into some really positive stuff.
What does cactus do? I've never heard of that. You don't have to tell me on air.
Oh well,
I have some pickled cactus in my fridge right now. It tastes really good, but should I be worried?
Oh, well, there's like a peyote. There's peyote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't know
San,
these things.
And then the San Pedro, which is legal here in California, but San Pedro and stuff like that. There's different things out there, but I don't dive into everything, but I have into some different things, and it has given me a different perspective on things, and I think it's really helped.
Well, I hear that a lot of the tech giants, you know, the technology companies and stuff, they microdose and stuff like that, and talk to the computer giants, or I don't know, demons or something. So, I hear all sorts of weird stuff every day.
The AI.
Yeah.
Well, I heard the guys who, excuse me, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Brown. Go ahead.
Oh, that the guys who originally built, I guess the computer, I forget what, I don't know if it was Apple or what, but they're, I think, in Silicon Valley here in California somewhere, and I think they were tripping on acid or something like that when they like.
I think I heard that story too.
Something like that, right?
Something like that.
So this poses the question. Then we're talking about, let's say, First Nations people way back when, because you brought up peyote, and we know a lot of First Nations people are spiritually involved with Sasquatch or Bigfoot, and it's the protector of their grounds, perhaps. You know, it's who they go to. So let me ask you this then. Do you think I don't know what peyote does to you. I know hallucinogens perhaps. So do you think a lot of these older folklore stories back then, do you think they were just conjured up because they were just hallucinating and they really weren't tapping into anything? It was just the brain playing tricks on them?
Yeah, no, especially, I mean, I think today, if you're just tripping to trip and have fun, you could just be tripping. But I think the natives had a purpose. The natives had a purpose, and I think, you know, it depends from tribe to tribe, their beliefs in the Sasquatch. But I think, they're definitely tapping into other realms and stuff like that we in this matrix, I call, perceive as a magical world or an unreal place. But I do believe there's different dimensions, and people could tap into it with meditation and different substances in different ways. And I think even like the remote viewing, you know, is just tapping into those frequencies, and they're out there. And then little by little, I guess science is like, you know, science has started to come out with everything that we're thinking of, and kind of confirming things. And I just feel like, I don't need them to confirm certain stuff. I'll find out for myself. And that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I was going to say that remote viewing could be similar to that, tapping into anything like dimensions or whatever. Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how we got on that subject, but
We
but
went down the rabbit hole.
But
Those
you know,
rabbit holes.
We tripped down the
that's
rabbit hole.
hole, and that's the rabbit hole, and that's why you just gotta love it.
I love it.
Let me ask you. I don't think I asked you. Have you really, when he comes out in the forest, have you seen a Bigfoot? Yeah.
Yep. I claim to. I've had a lot of experiences to where I thought I've seen certain things. It could be just a quick black mass going by or something like that, but not, completely confirmed that, it was a Sasquatch. But I do claim that I have had two solid sightings. So one was on the property, Southern Humboldt. And at the time, there's already a bunch of the Orbs stuff was happening. And I was getting structures on the property as well, but no teepees, but just a lot of manipulation of logs and trees and stuff like that. It was pretty obvious. And so one summer, there was a above where the house was on a ridge top, there was another space there where we had a bunch of stuff, and I went to go, and you had to drive up a steep hill to get up there. And these are all dirt roads; they're not county roads, And so it's also gated. So there's no people could trespass, and normally there's no people around there anyway. And so I've gotten a lot of wood knocks, all types of stuff that I claim is activity, vocalizations. And so anyway, this summer I was driving up to this area to the top, and on the side of me, it's all wooded. It's woods on both sides. And so I'm driving, and to the left of me, I notice something like flickering through the woods, and it was in the humanoid shape. It was black, but it wasn't big. It wasn't big. I would say maybe about 5 foot, maybe about my size, 5'6", 5'5", around there. But it was moving fast, and this thing was running. And what it reminded me of is one of those cartoon flip books. I don't know if you remember those books that you just flip.
Kind of glitchy a little bit, huh?
Yeah, and
I still read them.
That's his favorite kind of book to read. His novels.
Right.
That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like, because it was just running behind trees. So it was just kind of
cool.
Like it just, and then it hid behind one particular tree. I think it might have been a pretty big madrone tree, and it stuck its head out, and it was just peeking, and we were looking at each other. And as far as distance, I would say, maybe a few 100 feet, not too far. Like I said, I was on the road, and this was like a little up the ways from the road. And it looked at me, and when I looked at it, it was all black, except for like around the eye area here, maybe even the nose. I don't remember, but it was like it was gray. It looked like a gray mask, like gray skin. Mm-hmm. And everything else was black. I, for some reason, got a male. Like I got a feeling that maybe it was a male. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. And I guess since it was small, maybe a juvenile. And so we stared at each other, and I just kind of just kept going after that. I was like, wow, I just had a sighting. I didn't get scared. I did get like the goosebumps and everything. And I didn't bother going after it. I didn't even I didn't look for my camera or anything. It was just, that was that. And boom, I just kept going and talked to my neighbors and my partner about it. And they're like, oh, whoa, you might be losing it here. But I know, I know what I saw. And that was exciting. So that was the first one. You ready for the second one?
I am, but really quick comment. And there we go again. For all those naysayers, no, we never get pictures. We can't. It just happens so fast that it is what it is. Just got to go by what our folks tell us.
Yeah. And so that and I thought that was strange that I didn't react. I mean, when I think about it now, I was like, darn, I should have, gone for the camera or like walked up to it or something. Yep. But no, none of that. And so the second second sighting I had, this was in the northern part of the county, way up north, about almost 2 hours north of the southern part, in a fishing town called Trinidad, California. Beautiful town. And actually, a friend of mine needed a roommate at the time, and so I was able to get a room at his house. And so the ocean's right down the way, right in town. And come to find out, there's been a lot of reports there. One is even in David Paulides' Hoopa project, I believe. And recently, BFRO got a report from 2013, but it was recently submitted of a lady who had a sighting in the area. So this was before I found all that stuff out. I was in town, Trinidad, running some errands, and Highway 101, which is a big highway there. I get onto the highway headed southbound. And when I got on the highway, there was maybe about 3-4 other cars already. Like I was getting on the ramp and they were ahead of me. And so I'm behind these cars. And from the left side of the highway, the opposite side, I noticed what looked like a really tall humanoid shape, and it was solid black. And then sometimes you'll get people who ride their bikes in the area, or, homeless people or travelers. You'll see them on the highway every once in a while. People actually still hitchhike up in those areas. And then so I figured, all right, this is a person. And when we drive by, I should be able to see them. But at the same time, I'm thinking, roadside crossing, always keeping my eyes out for stuff like that. And I noticed that the figure wasn't wearing a backpack or anything. I couldn't see it holding anything. And it walked across the highway, which is pretty big distance. And it did it really quick, classic stuff, really quick. Must have been a few steps. And when I passed by, I figured maybe someone was going to honk or something, but no one honked. I passed by where this thing finished walking, and it drops down to a ravine there of just redwoods. And if you keep going down, you would eventually hit the ocean. And so I passed by and nothing there, nothing going down into the ravine. There was nobody there. And so I was just like, wow. And this thing was tall. I would say about 8 foot. And yeah, I got the chills too. And immediately after, Tex knows who I'm talking about here. DDoS had a show called the BDRP. And I had called in because at that time I was tapped in with those guys. And I had called in and told them about that report. It was the same day. So I was glad I was able to get that documented with them.
That's awesome. That's, I had a little bit of chills listening to that, HS.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually pretty cool. I mean, it sounds like something that I've seen too. I've seen big shadowy, hulky figures running along the tree line out in the field, just like that. So I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's been other reports further all along that highway. That highway 101 there is it's a hot spot. So a good tool to have, and I had one, is a dash cam with a reverse camera to have. I think that's one of the best tools you could have out there if you're out there Bigfooting.
That is a great idea.
Because they say roadside crossings are possibly the number one way to encounter these things. So
I say that all the time. I get a lot of reports I read or just look or just do the research, and you know what, Bigfoot cryptid, what have you, crossing the road. Mm-hmm. And you know how many probably have crossed if you'd had that camera on your back? What you're saying, the reverse camera?
Yeah.
Many, a multitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? You're kind of choppy right now, Rob, so I didn't pick that up.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter because it was about the reverse camera, and I got to cut it a little short here before 5 to go. I've got to go see the doctor in about 20 minutes. I got to tell you what, Brown Dwarf, I had a fun time today, man. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. A little choppy still, but I got you.
I had a great time. I think that great stories. I could talk to you for hours, and I know Jessica could too. Really quickly, again, I know you already said it. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, I think you're starting to break up on me a little bit. Maybe it's perfect timing. I don't know.
Hey,
Where
I've
we
been
find
freezing
you?
up all day too. I
Yeah,
know it's just wind outside, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
We got the hurricane down south, so
Maybe that's it.
could be
Brown,
that.
pleasure meeting you. I mean, in
Yes.
person. I love it.
It's awesome
Got,
seeing you again, Brown. Thank you
and
for coming today.
I know you've got more things
Yeah,
to
no, thank you guys
talk
for
about.
having me.
Yeah. And I will. We'll have you back for part 2, maybe 6 months, maybe around Christmas time. There he goes. Don't know what happened. Yeah, he was
Oh
losing stuff.
no.
So, Jessica, what do you got going on yourself for the rest of the week?
Oh, well, I had my new show yesterday, A Glitch in the Matrix. I
Yes.
talked about missing people with Nick Valente. That was awesome. You guys please check that out. It's on my YouTube channel. Tomorrow I have remote viewing investigations. I have Barry Littleton coming on. He wanted me to remote view organism 46B. Okay, this is a weird one. Okay, so I've
Wow.
remote viewed that and maybe another sea creature too. That's tomorrow night. And then this weekend I have Spaced Out Radio with Jim Helbert, my teammate. We're going to talk about dowsing and remote viewing with Bigfooting. And then Sunday I have Tex coming on to talk about alien abductions in the field. So y'all join me.
Yeah, and everybody, I debuted a new show, Beyond BMR, on Tuesday. It comes on 9 Eastern. I had Robin McCray on, and it's
Excellent show.
It's a different show that we did talk cryptids because we dive deep down all the rabbit holes. We did Mind Speak with my Bigfoot. Now, we didn't perform Mind Speak with my Bigfoot on the show. However, Robin has spoke with my Bigfoot, and that was a great show. It enlightened me. Jessica makes me even want to open that frequency, that third eye. I'm not going to say what
pineal
the gland.
gland.
Yeah, I'm not going to say because I always say the other word, right?
Yeah, well, you can talk to your doctor about that today.
Gland. Yeah, the pineal. Is it pineal?
Pineal gland.
Pineal.
That's how I say it. I don't know.
You're
you said it. You said something else though.
Yeah, I know. I did. Hey, everybody in chat, everybody listening later and today, thank you. Please subscribe to Jessica Jones, Cryptid Huntress, Bigfoot.
Yes, please do. Oh, and everybody, I did put Brown Dwarf on my friends on my YouTube channel down at the friends. It is hard to find his YouTube page unless you have a link. So go down there on my page, the Cryptid Huntress, and you'll find Brown Dwarf down at the bottom under my friends list. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yay!
And tonight I'll be on with Jason McLean. We got a crazy one going on tonight. It's about the blowing up of pipelines in Europe.
Oh yeah.
What's going to happen with us?
Controversial.
How does that affect us?
Yeah.
And is our global elitists behind it? We'll find out.
Always.
Okay. Everybody, love you all. Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. For those listening later, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe, all our channels, all our content. Until next time, when I bring back again, Jessica, you're gonna be in my captain's chair, my co-captain.
I'm glad to do it. Absolutely.
Well, I love you for doing it. You're awesome.
Thank you, and thank you to Brown Dwarf. We lost you, buddy, but
yeah,
we'll
lost
see you
Brown
again.
Dwarf. Go check out Brown Dwarf. He's got some great stuff. Go check out where Jessica put the link because he's a really cool dude. I love him. We'll have him back again. He's in everyone's chat room, it seems, and just a great guy. With that being said, until next time, BMR and Jessica Jones, we're out.
Bye, y'all.